Hello, this is Dr. C. We're going to talk about slowing your threads down using yield and sleep. So one of the problems with threading sometimes is that one thread starts doing more work and continues to do work, and you want to give some other threads a chance to do their work, and you have some leeway with the thread scheduler, and that's via something called Thread.yield. So yield is actually a static method defined in the thread class. And when a thread comes along and sees this thread yield, it sends a message to the operating system to pull that thread off the CPU and put it back into the runnable pool. Now, that's all you get. There's no guarantee that another thread will get to run from the runnable pool, because the thread that just yielded is back in the runnable pool, and it's up to the operating system scheduler to pull a thread from the runnable pool and allocate it to the CPU. So this, if you look at the output of this this program down here, we see two of our very simple threaded programs, one that prints Sun, the other one prints Java. They've both been launched, and the output is going to be Sun and then Java and then Sun and Java and Sun and Java and Sun and Java. But notice that at some point there's a Java, which means that the thread that had yielded was then put back onto the CPU for execution. So it usually does result in letting someone else have a chance at the CPU, but there's no guarantee. Now, if you really want to shut a thread down for a while, you can force it to leave the runnable pool, and that's via Thread.sleep. Again, sleep is a static method of the thread class, and when a thread executes this piece of code, it will put itself to sleep for at least 1,000 milliseconds. So that parameter is a millisecond parameter. All the operating system guarantees is that your thread will not be given the CPU for at least 1,000 milliseconds. It may be back in 1001, it may be back in 10,000 milliseconds, but you're just guaranteed that your thread is not going to execute for 1,000 milliseconds. Now, it turns out that thread sleep involves a little more than just having your thread go to sleep, because thread sleep is a method that can potentially throw an exception. So we have to deal with exception handling when using thread sleep. And here we see the full story. Thread.sleep must be put in a try block with a catch of interrupted exception. So there's a more sophisticated, more advanced use of exceptions that involve one thread interrupting another and in midstream. And so when a thread is asleep during that period of time, it may be sent an interrupt, in which case the catch block is used to determine if that occurs, and if that's the case, then control will then pass to the catch block, which will be catching that interrupted exception. For general use, unless you're doing something special in your program to do threaded interrupts, this is not going to happen. But because of the structure of the Java language and the fact that interrupted exception is a checked exception, the compiler makes you address the fact that the sleep method could throw an exception.